Welcome to Tennessee's At Home Learning Series for Math. Today's lesson is for all our second graders out there, though all children are welcome to tune in. This lesson is the 18th in our series. My name is Miss Spain, and I'm a second grade teacher in Tennessee schools. I'm so excited to be your teacher for this lesson. Welcome to my virtual classroom. If you didn't see our previous lesson, you can find it on the Tennessee Department of Education's website at www.tn.gov/education. You can still tune in to today's lesson if you haven't seen any of our others, but it might be more fun if you first go back and watch our other lessons, since we'll be talking about things we've learned previously. Today, boys and girls, we're going to be learning about adding three-digit numbers with regrouping. Before we get started, to participate fully in our lesson today, you will need a paper, pencil, and you know what? Go ahead and get a couple of sheets of paper. Okay, let's begin. We have been adding three-digit numbers. I'm excited to continue our work. Before we begin, we will need to draw 5 place value mats. So grab your paper and pencil and follow along. First, you're going to draw a large rectangle, and I'm going to show you mine. This time, we will need to divide the lines so that we have 3 spaces. So go ahead and sketch your rectangle and divide the lines so we have 3 spaces. So we have 3 columns, hundreds, tens, and ones. You're welcome to label yours with those words, or you can just write an H, a T, or an O. Okay, are you ready? Go ahead and draw 3 more mats. You're doing such hard work. Thank you, boys and girls. This will save us time. Okay, great job listening, having your 5 place value mats. Now let's read this problem together. There were 213 people at the school play on Tuesday night and 151 people at the play on Thursday night. How many people saw the play on Tuesday and Thursday? So, boys and girls, what do we need to do? Excellent. We need to make sense of the problem to make sure we understanding what it's asking us. So we see that first, there were 213 people at the school play on Tuesday night and 151 people at the play on Thursday night. And we are trying to figure out how many people saw the play on Tuesday and Thursday. So that tells us that we are going to be adding. Like before, we are going to be using base 10 model sketches. And remember that a flat represents a 100, a rod represents 10, and a 1 dot or block represents 1. Excellent job. How do you think we can use our base 10 model sketches to show this problem? Right. We can build both numbers, and since we're trying to figure out the total, we will add the 2 numbers together. Would you build this problem for me on one of your mats? I will model the same problem, and then we will compare. So first, let's go back to our text, and it says there were 213 people at the school play on Tuesday night. So I am going to draw 2 flats for 200, 1 rod for 10, and 3 dots for the 3 ones. Very good. Does yours look like mine? Now, let's go ahead and add our second number to our representation. We have 151. So what do you think? Do our models match? Excellent job. Now, to find the total number of people that saw the play on Tuesday and Thursday, what do we need to do? Shout it out. Yes, we need to add. And we can go ahead and count to add. 100, 200, 300, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our number written in expanded form. So how many people saw the play? Shout your answer. Good job, boys and girls. There were 364 people that saw the play. Way to go. Now, earlier in our series, we thought about all the different ways that we could model numbers. Do you remember? Okay, I want you to consider this number. I'm going to draw it on here. And then I want you to think by counting to see what number this is. Okay, boys and girls, what do you see? Good counting. This is the number 14. We can count by ones to figure out how many blocks we have. Now, do you see a 10 in the number above? Yes. Remember that we can bundle those 10 ones together to make one 10. 10 blocks is the same as one rod. Do you remember that? Very good. Remember, 10 block, one rod, is the same as 10 ones. So these are the same. 10 ones is the same as one 10 rod. So can we model 14 in two different ways? Excellent. We know that we can take these 10 ones and we can move them to the tens place, and now we have one 10 and we have 4 ones left over. Excellent job, boys and girls. So we could look at the 14 ones and that equals 14, or we can take the 10 ones, move it over to a 10, and that equals 14. Awesome job. Go ahead and count while you clap 14 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Phew! You all are working very hard. Now we're going to solve some problems that may have some numbers in the one place that can be bundled or regrouped when we build our 3-digit models. Are you ready? I'm excited to put our two skills together. So let's practice with our first number. 246 plus 117. I'm going to start by modeling both numbers. Think about how that you could quick sketch these numbers while I'm doing it as well. So if I have my place value mat, remember we have hundreds, tens, and ones. Now I'm going to do a quick sketch. So for 200, I have 2 flats. For 40, I have 4 10 rods. And for ones, I have 6. Now for 117, I have 1 flat, 1 10, and 7 ones. Does yours look like mine? Excellent. So the first number is made up of 2 hundreds, 4 tens, and 6 ones. The second number is made up of 100, 1 10, and 7 ones. Now, look what happens when we combine these numbers. What do you think is going to happen when we combine these numbers? Let's see if you're right. If we combine the numbers, we have 300, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. But wait a minute, how many ones do we have? You're right, we have 13 ones. So we have 300 plus 50 plus 13 ones. Now, we know that we can trade in 10 ones for one 10 rod. And we will do that by circling. So up here, I have 6. And then I'm going to circle 7, 8, 9, 10 down here. And I'm going to move it over to the 10s. Excellent job, boys and girls. You're doing such a wonderful job paying attention. After our trade or regrouping, we still have 300s. But now, how many do we have in the 10s? Exactly. Now we have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 10 rods. And then how many do we have in the ones place? Very good. Now we just have 3. So now we have 300 plus 60 plus 3. We can show the regrouping in our problem, and I'm going to show you how. So look at this model. Notice that we have the hundreds, the tens, and the ones. And we are going to combine our numbers on this model. So, boys and girls, remember what our number was? Yes, our number was 246, 117. Excellent job. Now, let's look at this. What do you think? Just like we did in our model, we can add 6 and 7, and that's 13. So we traded in, we regrouped, and took a 10 over. And we were left with 3 ones. So I'm going to put a 3 here, and I'm bringing my 10 over. So now we have 6 and 3. And so our answer is 363. What do you think? We used our model and our math problem to add 3-digit numbers, and we traded in or regrouped 10 ones to make a 10 rod. So let's use our new skill to help Scout figure out how many pounds of hay he has for his horses. I want you to read this problem with me. Scout has 326 pounds of hay for his horse. A neighbor brought 258 more pounds of hay to the farm. How much hay does Scout have now? Now remember, we need to make sense of our problem. So let's go back to the text. How many pounds of hay does he have at first? Very good. He has 326 pounds of hay for his horse. And a neighbor came over and brought 258 more pounds of hay to the farm. So now we're trying to figure out how much hay does Scout have now. So let's use our new skill to figure this out. How do you think we will find the total pounds of hay? Good thinking. We will add the two amounts of hay together. So go ahead and find a place value map that you made earlier. We will model Scout's beginning amount of hay. So I want you to go ahead and do this with me. So find your base 10, Matt, and we are going to show how many pounds of hay. So you can go ahead, boys and girls, right now and be sketching out the two numbers. Okay, so first it tells us that he has 326 pounds of hay. So I'm going to draw my 3 hundreds flats, 2 10s, and 6 1s. Excellent. Does your model look like mine? Now, what should we do next? Very good. We need to add the amount of hay the neighbor brought over. So let's go ahead and add that to our model. So we need to go back to the text. How much did the neighbor bring back? Excellent, 258. Go ahead and sketch that on your place value mat and we will compare. Now, let's look at our models. Does your model look like mine? We have the two amounts of hay modeled together. How can we figure out the total? Yes, we will add them together. Let's count all the hundreds, tens, and ones. So we have 500, 500s worth 500, and then we have 7 tens worth 70. And how many ones do we have? Good counting, boys and girls. There are 14 ones. So we will need to trade or regroup 10 of the ones for a 10 rod and move the 10 over to the tens place. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will make 10. So we're taking these 10 ones over to the tens. Now, to show that we are trading or regrouping, we circle the 10 ones and we draw a line to the tens place and then draw a 10. Show me that you have done that. Excellent job. When we are writing numbers, we only have one digit for each place value. So we won't leave 14 in the ones place. Now our model shows 500 plus 80 plus 4. So Scout now has 584 pounds of hay. Now, let's go ahead and write this as an equation. And I want you to watch as I do the math. So remember the problem? Scout has 326 pounds of hay. So I am going to write I am going to write 326. And then his neighbor brought over 258 more pounds of hay. And so when we added together in our model, we saw that 6 plus 8 is 14. That's 14 ones. So we're going to leave our 4 and we regrouped and brought our 10 over to the tens. Now we have 8 in the tens place and 5 in the hundreds. So now we have 584 pounds of hay. Excellent job. Remember, we added the 6 ones and the 8 ones. We got 14 ones. In our model, remember, we traded in 10 ones for our 10 rod and we moved it over. So we just have 4 ones left. So we moved it to the tens place. Just like our model, that's why we've written 4 in the ones, because we brought the 10 over to the tens place. That's why the 1 is in the box in the tens place now. And when we add the tens together, we see that Scout has 584 pounds of hay. You all did a great job regrouping or trading with our 3-digit addition. Let's practice another problem. I want you to go ahead and read this one on your own. And remember, the first thing we do is we make sense of the problem. So on Saturday, 462 people visited the aquarium. On Sunday, 229 people came. How many people were at the aquarium over the weekend? Good job, boys and girls. I hear you making sense of the problem. There were 462 on Saturday, on Sunday, 229. And we are trying to figure out how many people were at the aquarium over the weekend. So we are being told by our problem that we need to add. Very good. Now, would you please build the two numbers on one of your place value mats? And I will do the same. So here, boys and girls, is my place value mat. Excellent job. So I have my hundreds, tens, and ones. And see, mine is not neat. It's okay. This is just a way for us to organize our thoughts. Now we have 462. So let's go ahead and draw 462 on our model. Do you have 462 that looks like this? Excellent. Then 229 people came. And so now we're trying to figure out how many visited the aquarium over the weekend. So compare your mat to mine. So right now, our model shows 600 plus 80 plus, very good, 11. Now, what do you notice about the ones place? You are correct. We can trade in 10 ones for a 10 rod. If you haven't already done that, do it now, please. So I know these are 9. One more makes 10. So I'm bringing it over and I'm adding it to the tens place. Does your model look like mine? So now our model shows 600 plus 90 plus 1. Now, I want you to write the problem with me on your piece of paper. We had 462 that came on Saturday, 462 on Saturday. And then how many did we have on Sunday? Yes, 229 on Sunday. Now, does yours look like mine? I want you to complete this problem on your own, making sure that it matches your model. We want the problem to match our model. So we know we can add 9 plus 2, and that equals 11. But each place value just has one digit. So we took 10 ones and brought it over to the tens place. So we have 11. So our 1 goes here, and then we're adding the 10 that we brought over. Does yours model look like this? You are doing a great job. Did you add 2 plus 9 equals 11? What did you do next? Great. You had to move 1 10 from the ones place over to the tens place because 11 equals 10 plus 1. So you place that 10 in the tens place. Very good. Then we're going to add 6 10 plus 6 tens plus 1 10 plus 2 tens. And that equals, very good, boys and girls, 9. Now we can add the 400s plus 200s and get 600s. So we see that 691 people visited the aquarium over the weekend. Wonderful job. Now I want you to read this next problem on your own. And while you're doing that, be thinking how we are going to set this up. Martin's math class used 247 jelly beans for a graph. Keith's math class used 237 jelly beans for their graphs. How many jelly beans did the two classes use? So what do we need to do first? Excellent. We need to make sense of our problem. Let's go back to our problem and make sure we understand what it's asking us to do. So Martin's math class used 247 jelly beans for a graph. And Keith's math class used 237 jelly beans for their graphs. We want to know how many jelly beans that the two classes use. So that tells us that we are adding these numbers. So I want you to please build the two numbers on a place value map that you created earlier. I want you to add the numbers together, trading or regrouping if you need. And when you're finished, we will compare the models. Okay, so while you're working, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to build 247. And that's for Martin's math class of jelly beans. And then for Keith's, 237. Now, does your model look like mine? Excellent. Our model shows us that we have 400 plus 70 plus 14. Now, what do we need to do? Very good. You see that we have 14 ones. So we can regroup and we can take our 14 ones and move it over to, we can take 10 of our 14 ones and move it over to the tens place. So I have 7 right here, and I'm going to use the bottom down here, 3, because we know that 7 plus 3 equals 10. And I'm going to take that over to the tens place because we can regroup. We have enough to move over to the tens place. So now we have 400 plus 80, and how many do we have in the ones? Very good, 4. So our answer is 484. So how many jelly beans did the two classes use? They used 484. Excellent job. Now let's do it like our equation. We are going to write the problem so that it models just what we have done here. So Martin's class used 247 jelly beans, and Keith's class, let's look back at the text, used 237. And we know 7 plus 7 is 14, and that's 14 ones. And so we can move a 10 over to the tens place. So we have 4 ones, and we moved our tens. And when we add their numbers together, we have 8 tens and 4 hundreds. So they used 484 jelly beans. That's a lot of jelly beans. Does your problem match mine? Great. Remember, we moved the 1 and 14 to the tens place, and we wrote the 4 in the ones place, and then we added the tens together. You are doing a wonderful job, boys and girls. I'm so proud of you. You've really got the hang of this. Great work, math friends. Today we added 3-digit numbers and regrouped with models. I hope you're seeing some connections to expanded form and writing numbers in multiple ways. You sure did a great job. After the video, you will have some problems to practice on your own. You can find them at www.tn.gov/education. So, I am so proud of you. I can't wait to see what we do next. Boys and girls, I enjoyed adding 3-digit numbers with you. Thank you for inviting me to your home. I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson in Tennessee's At Home Learning series. Bye.